Hey, and welcome back to Radio Gamescast. As always, I'm your host Ryan. I'm joined by Wyatt today,
Hello.
because we're doing a special Switch 2 themed episode. We're going to be playing Mario Kart in the background while we attempt to stay coherent for speaking.
I make no promises.
In reality, this is a Mario Kart World stream because we're having a really good time with the game. But we're going to talk about the Switch 2 and what our experiences with it have been for the first week or two, as we've been using it quite a bit.
Yes, I don't actually think I've played a video game on another platform since it came
I
out.
have
I'll be
only
perfectly
the only
honest
other
with you.
game I've played is Elden Ring Night Rain,
Fair
which
enough.
I'm a little addicted to.
Fair
but
enough. My thing was like, oh, it's basically giving me anything Switch 2 and the Jump Ship demo. But I think I'm gonna wait. Like I've played enough of the demo that I know I'm gonna pick it up day one anyway. So I'm just gonna let them do their thing.
This feels
You
like
know?
a good starting kickoff to the the Mario
Oh my
Kart night, a
God.
nice
They're
balloon
gonna make me do
battle.
They're gonna make me do balloon battle.
Like it's good in this game. I quite like the
It
balloon
is good.
battle. 24
See,
players
here's the
makes the
problem.
battle modes much better.
Here's the problem with all the other modes in this game is that they aren't knockout.
Yeah, that is a problem with all the other modes.
Yeah. Knockout is like one of now I am not, to be clear, I am not a Mario Kart aficionado by any stretch of the imagination. However, of all the Mario Kart games that I've played, Knockout is the greatest thing in any Mario Kart game for me. Which is actually kind of crazy coming from me because I tend to hate battle royales, but this one really
It's
really
just
does
it's
it
the
for
right
me.
length. I think the biggest thing is that the online for the Switch 2 works so well.
And for this
Um,
game,
Specifically
it's
for
been
Mario
fine.
Kart. We haven't really played anything else with it.
No.
But it's super seamless. Like I've never had an issue getting into a match immediately, and I've never had an issue like pulling in and out of them whenever I get eliminated.
The
'Cause I've
only
yet
issue
to
that I
win
ran
one.
into, there was an afternoon when the online specifically for this didn't work for like a couple hours. It was very weird. It was like the same error code. Some other people were getting it online. Um, but it seems like it kind of corrected itself fairly quickly. So, you know. Hopefully that isn't a normal
Could that really
pattern,
away from
but
me?
but we'll see. But no, other than that, I mean, for a Nintendo, for
I was
playing like,
expecting a lot more trouble with online.
yeah, I mean, I see the occasional weird like kind of teleporting all over the place, but
That's a connection thing.
yeah, for the most part, pretty impressive as far as that stuff goes. Now, I'll say this: I don't want to give Nintendo a whole lot of credit, 'cause I feel like in this day and age that is the bare minimum.
It is the bare minimum.
So I don't want to, I feel a little uncomfortable praising them this much for something that should be fairly standard. But I do think it's worth noting.
Yeah, especially
Um,
compared to past games. Aside from Splatoon, their online's never really worked that well.
Splatoon's always been solid, I will say. Splatoon's always been solid. I refuse to play Smash Online, because I don't want to deal with those sweaty tryhards, but also it's just never worked for me, ever.
Yeah.
It's always been such a mess.
God, Charging Chuck. Chill out over here. I don't need you to be on my tail the whole time. I do think, I don't know about you, but I've been mostly playing Mario Kart with a couple other things smattered in. Particularly, I've been playing a lot of Hitman.
Yeah, so mostly it's been Mario Kart, but I also am getting to the point with Mario Kart where I am going to keep playing it, but I also need something else to supplement it. Like, it can't be the main thing that I'm playing in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I've been doing mostly is I've been checking out backwards compatibility with stuff, and I've been trying to read up on how all of that works.
You finished me, Wyatt. I was
Curb
trying to
stomp
get
him.
you, and you got me.
Fucking curb stomp his ass. Wait, who are you playing as?
I was Luigi.
I didn't.
What was that?
Well, I was about to say I don't see you on the score, and then I forgot that I had to scroll down, and I didn't want to sound. I didn't want to sound rude.
Yeah, because I lost all of my balloons.
No, I didn't say that. You said that.
And the other, we did also try. I want to point this out before I forget about it, because I do kind of want to forget about it. We did try game chat.
I took a couple screenshots because I wanted to just record for posterity's sake. The what the fuck? That was weird.
I'll just put this back out.
I wanted to get a few screenshots of what that looked like. Unfortunately, when you take a screenshot, it only takes a shot of the screen and not with all of the game chat gunk.
Oh.
Describe it. I think our thoughts on it are pretty similar, which is it works fine enough, maybe even a bit better than I was expecting, because this is Nintendo we're talking about. I think it is. I didn't want to be this like I didn't want to be this mean, but it is very cromulent Discord.
I think that's just a very apt description for game chat.
I didn't want to be that mean, but that's what it is.
That said, it worked far better than I think either one of us was expecting at what it is supposed to do. And if I were like on vacation and really wanted to play a Mario Kart with somebody that I don't have a computer to do Discord or a phone or any other thing, it did work good.
I think it was
for that
fine.
Use.
It will work if you are in a dire situation. Do I think that there are vastly better options out there? Absolutely. But
one
I
thing
guess
we did
I'm
that was cool though, we messed around with the transcription stuff, just out of curiosity, and startlingly accurate, I would say.
It's okay. It's okay, and it left in all of the swears, which I was genuinely shocked by.
Very funny seeing our normal speech patterns transcribed in a Nintendo ecosystem.
Yeah. I will say it had a good amount of options. Like a lot of customization where you can kind of set how much you want all of that stuff to take up on your screen and stuff like that. Like I was again surprised at how many options there were in that regard. Again, I think it is still a last resort situation, but it will work in a pinch.
Come here.
I see you on my ass.
Got you. I almost
see you
got
on my
you.
ass. Get the fuck out. Get that shit out of here.
Oh, Mario. This also does make me excited for the Mario Kart or Mario Party stream we inevitably do.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I was hoping I was gonna win that one. Oh, you bastard.
Here, wait, Ryan, I'm not done yet. I'm not done with you yet.
Nope.
Fuck.
Not today.
But yeah, game chat in general, last resort, but will work as a last resort. We didn't have cameras to test because, frankly,
that's $50 I would rather have in my wallet.
Now, I will say you can use whatever camera you want, which is admirable and not what I was expecting Nintendo to do. I thought they wanted to keep you within their shitty little Nintendo ecosystem. But no, you can plug in whatever you want, which is very nice. Which does remind me of another point. I very much appreciate that you can hook up your old Joy-Cons, and apart from the fact that they don't obviously attach to the side of the console, I very much like that they still have wireless support for all of them.
Yeah, all your old controllers still work.
So, you know, what was it, $90 for the Pro Controller 2, you know? Or just stick with your original. Totally fine as well.
That's it. Pro Controller 2 is very good.
Yeah, you got a nice deal on it, right?
Yeah, Costco had it for cheaper. Costco, I had them for $75. which I would say is a very reasonable price to pay for it compared to the $85 that they usually are. But yeah, they work really well.
I mean, is it worth upgrading if you already have a Pro controller, though?
Probably not. The main reason I got it is I wanted a second one for like couch co-op and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like it'd be really nice to have another Pro controller available.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say it's a necessity if you already have one and don't really want an extra controller to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, so like I said, I was trying to test some like backwards compatibility stuff, and I was looking up how that all works, and it's a little bit all over the place, but the general rule is if you have a Switch 1 game that was locked to 30, which is unfortunately the majority of them, everything is going to run at a locked 30 frames without
which was
any kind
not
of
a guarantee on the Switch 1.
Required. Yeah. Which is why most, like, the vast majority of Switch 1 games are locked at 30. However, if you play any of the games that had an unlocked frame rate, so I was just testing out earlier today a bit of Red Faction Guerrilla unlocked frame rate, those will play at like a locked 60, which is really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
There's going to be some exceptions. I don't know if you heard about this, but there's some wacky stuff going on with Borderlands 3. So that's unlocked frame rate, runs at a buttery 60 frames. However, it
Weird
does
lighting
have
issues.
lighting issues and really bad screen tearing, from what I understand. I haven't tested it myself, but that's
I hope it gets a patch, because that is like the perfect use case for the Switch for me as a Borderlands game.
Oh,
because they're like such great just grind games to get in a little bit of gameplay when you have the time.
Yeah, and you know, I consider any multiplayer game to be typically a pretty good Switch game, and that would be nice as well. So there's weird kind of edge cases like that, but for the most part, works pretty well. God, the hammers are funky. It's good, you know, backwards compatibility for the most part seems really solid. Everything runs really, really well. It's just that most games were locked at 30 because of how comparatively weak the Switch was to start off with. So the most that we can hope for right now is that developers will go through and just simply unlock the frame rate.
Yeah.
Not even change visuals, not even change like resolution or whatever, just unlock the frame rate. And I think, you know, I'd be golden with most original Switch games. Obviously, you know, honestly, if they wanted to fix the resolution or anything like that, that'd be nice. But I feel like just unlocking the frame rate will make such a huge difference. It's interesting. They're using like half hardware compatibility, or hardware emulation and half software emulation for their backwards compatibility. So I'm very interested to see how that works out over time and how much Nintendo needs to, how much they need to do on their end in order to make games compatible, or is it purely just developers? It's hard to say.
I really hope there is just a thing where it's most people can unlock the frame rate.
Oh god, because I
that to me is the biggest win.
Yeah, man, things like Astral Chain, I would fucking love to play at like an unlocked frame rate. And it is a problem to a degree, because it's like I don't want to buy this game if it's not at 60, just because like if I buy it now and it's at 30 and then, you know, 6 months or whatever down the line it has an unlocked frame rate, you know, it's like, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
So it's like I almost want to just wait and see if I can oh fuck you. Wait, if I can you know, get that unlocked frame rate for certain stuff. But
yeah, I'd love for a lot of things, because I think the nicest benefit to me of the Switch 2 right now, and I'm curious if you agree that this is like the feeling you have, with the Switch 1, I was always worried if I got a game on it if it would actually run.
Yeah. Just
in general, like at all.
And at the moment that isn't an issue.
And like I was able to pick up Cyberpunk and Hitman pretty confidently with the Switch 2, and I've played both of them, and they run far better than I was expecting them to.
When we say with confidence, you have to keep in mind that like you still have to expect like handheld PC levels of performance.
Yeah.
So like this whole system running Cyberpunk at 40 frames, sure, you know, may not seem super impressive compared to someone on a PC or a PS5 Pro, but that's not really what they're going for. You know?
Mm-hmm.
There is still this awkward thing with the Switch where, you know, you're playing a game handheld, it's 1080p, so the game just has to render at 1080p. But you try and put it on a TV, you put it in docked mode, the game is actually going to run worse, which is this kind of awkward area that it's in. And I say that because like if you play a game on your Steam Deck while you also have a PC, right? It's you have this mental thing of like, oh, I'm playing it at 40 frames or reduced visuals or whatever now, but when I get home I can go back to my PC and play it at these desired settings. You don't really get that with the Switch. What you have is what you get, and there are these kind of awkward moments where it actually runs worse when it's docked because it's trying to output at a higher resolution or something like that.
Yeah. Hitman's one of those where it runs not necessarily worse, but because it's an unlocked frame rate and tends to fluctuate between 40 and 60, which is perfectly fine on the handheld screen because it has VRR, variable refresh rate, and looks really good. Like I played a ton of it portable and it's super fun. On my actual monitor, it suffers from some issues where it's like a little bit of almost screen tearing just because it is fluctuating frame rate and not locked. I would love to play it where that isn't a problem.
I will say, because I think we're going to be mostly positive about the Switch 2, both in this discussion and then also we're going to do a more specific like hardware discussion later down the road.
Yeah, and I think
for the most part,
in comparison, like the Steam Deck.
And for the most part, we're going to be pretty positive. One thing I have to say is it is a really shitty move on Nintendo's part to advertise VRR in handheld and docked mode, and then had to walk that back later on.
Yeah, which is very weird.
Very shady stuff going on there. From what I understand, it was some sort of miscommunication, but I'm like, you guys are Nintendo, and that shit is just not gonna fly. Like, people expect better from companies like Nintendo. You know what I mean? When it comes to like that being transparent about specs and all that stuff.
It's also just a weird limitation. Like I don't know where that's coming from that it can't do that. On the Nintendo side,
it has to be something dock related, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Of anything else
it's either dock or software related, and hopefully it's software because they could fix it later. But who knows? I really hope they nail that out.
Because that is kind of, from what I've seen, I haven't played a lot of games where that's an issue yet. But from what I've seen, that can really kind of kill the vibe if it's not working properly. I'm definitely, I would say the outrage around that announcement I think is very fair because it just feels like very shady.
Yeah.
Like was this a known thing and you decided to just roll with it, or like what happened there? And speaking of performance, one thing I do have to say that I'm a little disappointed in is, oh god, I can talk normally again, is this is gonna be such a weird discussion because we're like half paying attention.
That's the point. Look, this is largely a Mario Kart stream. This isn't gonna be on the Spotify list, but we have a loose topic. Yeah, just born out of the desire to talk about the thing that we've been having fun with. And also, I want to have a larger discussion about handhelds and stuff, but for that one, I want everyone there to get some other perspectives in. Whereas just talking about the Switch 2 in general, we're the only ones from the podcast crew that have one. And I picked one up this early, so it feels more apt to have something a little bit more entertaining going on while we're talking about it.
What I was gonna say before I got horribly distracted. Speaking of performance, one thing I've been a little disappointed with. Not that I don't understand, but I am a little disappointed. 4-player split screen for Mario Kart World is still 30 frames. Locked 30 frames, but 30 frames per second, which I found fairly disappointing. But again, there's 24 racers. There's so much shit going on. It's not that I don't understand it, but that was always such a buzzkill with 8 as well. It's just disappointing, but again, understandable.
Yeah.
That's the only time where I've really been disappointed by the performance of this thing. And again, I haven't put it too much through its paces with things like Cyberpunk or anything. I've mostly been doing backwards.
Yeah, well, just to say, I've been playing my like launch title set for this is Mario Kart World, No Man's Sky, Hitman, and Cyberpunk are the main things. So
you've been abusing this thing.
So I kind of went hard at the things that I figured would push it pretty hard. No Man's Sky is near flawless. It is
40, right?
It's very variable because of No Man's Sky's just generation algorithms, but it's variable in the same way that like the other consoles and PC are. It's not any less smooth than those.
Is that you, fucker? Is that your green shell, you little...
I don't think so. Okay, I had a red shell that I threw at someone.
Okay.
But yeah, No Man's Sky runs really good. The biggest issue with No Man's Sky, and a mistake that I made, is No Man's Sky's crossplay. I mostly play it on PC, so I put my save up and logged in on PC to just make sure the crossplay was working. Didn't realize that the Switch is technically a version behind, because they have Nintendo's certification process they have to go through to get updates onto the Switch. And that means my save is now unplayable on my Switch and locked to PC until the update happens, which is a shame. Like, I really wish there was a way that wasn't an issue, or they let me keep like a local copy of my save,
or they tell you, like they warn you.
Yeah, like because it is full crossplay, but it has that issue where if the versions are mismatched, you can't play your saves from PC on the Switch. So it means I gotta kind of wait on the Switch until those versions catch up to play that save again, which is a shame. Oh no, I've ruined it.
I'm getting right fucked over here. I will say, very cool move on Hello Games' part. Had a full Switch 2 version ready to go on launch day and discounted it.
Yeah, which is crazy because the original Switch 2 version, or the Switch 1 version, was not crossplay and cross-save, so you couldn't save your game.
Yeah.
To cross-save there, and the Switch 2 version is, which is great.
So here's an interesting question for you while we're talking about performance and everything. The Switch 1 performance at launch, I think we all gave a pass because it was such a new thing, and we were still having fun with Zelda and everything. And then obviously, very quickly, like even with the launch title, like its limitations were kind of shown right off the bat. Do you think, in terms of performance and longevity, the Switch 2 is in a better place than the first one was?
In terms of Nintendo stuff, for sure. I think a third party is going to have largely the same issues. Because I would guess that like Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky are working so well because they're from a studio that put a lot of effort into those ports. I would expect that from other studios, we probably won't see that same amount of effort.
Probably not. Which,
to me, means we're probably going to get more 30 FPS ports. I think that's going to be a pretty common theme.
But is that on Nintendo, or is that on the...
I don't think so. I think that's not a Nintendo-specific thing. I think that's just, like, in general, the performance targets for this are pretty hard to hit for things being targeted for, like, the PS5 Pro, for example. And I think that's just a reality. Like, I don't think you should go into the Switch 2 expecting to play all the games you would play on a PS5 Pro or a PC to work exactly the same. I think generally people aren't expecting that. So what I really generally want is more like Steam Deck level performance, which is what I'm getting so far, where things are more aim for 40 FPS to 60, anything that hits 30 tends to be a little bit less interesting to me, just because I think that's just much less of a playable frame rate for
what
things.
I think we will see, though, is that at the very... Because I agree, I think performance for third-party games is going to plateau sooner than we would probably like. What I do think we're going to see, though, is that I think we're going to see a lot less, like, this game can barely run 30 that we saw in the original,
Yes.
and I think things are going to be a closer, more locked 30.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of unlocked 30s. I think we're going to see a lot of locked 30s, which to me is way more acceptable. Even going back and, like, playing games that are still locked to 30, the fact that they stay 30 is really good.
Even though I still maintain that at this point, 30 frames is fairly unacceptable for most games that come out these days.
Yeah, I'll take it if it's locked, but I would vastly prefer it to look worse and have 40.
Or bare minimum 40. Yeah. But I think outside of people whose console is only a Switch, which, you know, I don't want to count those people out because there's definitely a lot of those people. I don't think you should be expecting, like, the place to be for third-party games. Like, as always, you get a Nintendo console for the Nintendo games.
Yeah, I think the benefit of the Switch 2 is that we'll see some third-party stuff, and it'll be a great way to play that stuff portably.
Yeah. Well,
which
and I think
is a really
big
addition.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what this is going to be do a much better job at is that for the longest time, the Switch was my indie game device of choice.
Until indie games started having the same problems that
yes, exactly.
AAA stuff
and then
was.
that kind of became a Steam Deck, where I could play all these cool indie games, games that I really loved portably.
I'm getting quacked.
Quacked.
I've been quacked.
But I think this will do a much better job of being able to play those indies at very acceptable frame rates. And it won't peter out in the same way that the Switch, the original Switch did, which is good. Again, I think it's going to be better in terms of, like, third-party support, but we really shouldn't be expecting... Like, it's almost why it was very bold, and I, in a lot of ways, respect Nintendo for having Cyberpunk be one of their launch titles, because it definitely says, like, hey, we're trying to take this more seriously.
This thing's capable. I mean, Cyberpunk and Hitman, to me, are the big showcases of, like, the Switch 2 is not a slouch. Because Hitman especially is a game that doesn't run well on anything it's on, I would say.
It's very CPU heavy.
It's very CPU heavy, and it has certain issues, and the Switch version is not immune to that. I've had a couple problems in the Switch version, but it mostly plays great. And the problems are generally, like, specific things that are issues in all the versions of Hitman. Because the Switch has, like, the tutorial level for Hitman 2 for some reason is really performance intensive. And I'm not sure why. I think it's just because of, like, the amount of reflective glass in it causes problems. And I got some, like, big frame rate hits there, but everywhere else is largely fine, which is really good.
I will say, the double-edged sword of having games like Hitman and Cyberpunk on, right, is that one side of the sword you have, hey, we're taking third-party support seriously, we're taking these really demanding games, whether it's, you know, CPU bound, GPU bound, whatever, and they are on the Switch and they're playable, and you will have a playable experience, and that's great.
Sorry, I gotta stop you and just say, hey, get wrecked, and that's great.
You can go fuck yourself. The other side of the sword is that I feel like, in a way, people who don't pay as much attention to that stuff, it's going to set an expectation that the Switch 2 over time will not be able to live up to.
Yeah, I do think that, that's kind of the downside, is that Cyberpunk and Hitman, to me, are sort of the best worst case scenario, if that makes sense. And I don't really see that much improvement happening, although I would love a lot of things. Like, I'm just imagining how much fun it would be. I don't know if Sony would ever do this, but getting, like, God of War.
That would never fucking happen.
Or even just, like, a collection of the older God of Wars or something, and treat it like a PSP would be great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to see stuff like that, but I doubt we'll get Sony games, especially. Although I think a thing that I would really like is like, give me an Assassin's Creed collection.
That'd be great.
Of all the like PS4 era Assassin's Creeds.
Man, if I could get Black Flag at 60 frames per second on Switch 2,
because Black Flag on the Switch 1 ran really well, but it was stuck to 30. Yeah. So I would love to see that just get uncapped. Yeah, absolutely. And be a more.
And that's the big takeaway with backwards compatibility, is just that like 9 times out of 10, all a developer would need to do, and I'm not saying this is necessarily easy or hard, obviously, like it always takes work, especially when you're going back to older projects and you kind of have to remember how that pipeline works and all that stuff. But like, just get in there and unlock that frame rate, even for your older games. And that's going to make the Switch 2's library that much better, because there will be many people that will play a game because it has an unlocked frame rate now.
Yeah.
And so its back catalog is going to be a lot stronger because of that.
Yeah, I think Ubisoft especially has a lot to gain from that, just because of the strength of their catalog and the fact that Switch needs games. Because Switch 2 right now is really like, the launch lineup is very small.
I have seen statements. This is mostly from like very Nintendo-centered channels, so take that as you will. But they're like, "Oh, this is like one of the strongest launch lineups that we've seen." I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not.
It has one Nintendo game, a really good Nintendo game. But
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like in a very similar way that the original Switch had one really, really, really good game, and then just whatever. I mean, I got, what was it, Kamiko on launch, and that was a fun enough kind of 2D Zelda clone. Not clone, it kind of reminds me of like a Hyper Light Drifter or something like that. Decent, but not really launch material. You need to wow people with that, and it's the similar situation here. Mario Kart World.
Got your ass.
Listen. I'm trying to make a point, and you're kicking me while I'm down, and I don't appreciate that.
How about that one? Was that kicking you while you were down?
I hate you. I despise you.
I love that I could tell that hit from the sigh in your voice.
Well, now I don't even remember what the fuck I'm talking about, so thanks, Ryan. You completely derailed this entire conversation because you're being a bastard. I hope you appreciate it.
This is what Mario games do to us. Honestly, I think this is one of the stronger things to say about it, is like, Mario Kart World, I think, really is as good as we would have wanted it to be. There's a couple things that I'd like to see. Like, I really wish the open world was treated a little bit more
such
fully.
A nothing, like just...
Because it's so cool, and it's so well made, but it's also just, like, missing connective tissue.
It feels very un-Nintendo, in the sense that, like, if they add something to their game, system, mechanic, whatever it may be, they really, like, take
it's like,
it
I
all
wish we
the
could
way
free roam and then start races by being on the track and stuff like that. And, like, go hit a button to start one if you were racing on that track. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about, like, it feels like it has all of the side stuff. Like, there's little P-switches that are little challenges. And it's got all these little things, but like, I feel like it's missing the main, I don't want to say story mode, but like, it's clearly missing something. You know what I mean? Like, because we were talking about,
it's missing the Burnout Paradise mission structure. That legitimately, because they're 90% of the way to Burnout Paradise, and then they just didn't do the last 10%.
It really, and like I said, it feels very un-Nintendo in the sense that, like, it just feels like they didn't do anything with it. It's like they had Monolith Soft make this incredible open world for them, or at least collaborate with them on it, and then each just didn't fill it with anything. Like, the most obvious, basic thing that they could have done, and I am shocked they didn't do this, have all of the costumes be relegated to just the open world. Like, and then have them lock behind the P-switch challenges or something. That feels so obvious to me. You know what I mean? It's like, that's like the first idea that I would have had.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot they could have done
weird.
related to that, and they opted not to.
We were talking about, like, do something nuts. Have, like, a Mario Kart boss fight. Or something just wacky as hell. It's like the selling point of this game other than Knockout, but it's also the least interesting part about it. I was thinking about this. The best way to put it, in my opinion, is that the whole open world aspect, I think, works really well as a supplemental aspect to the game, but it doesn't really work on its own as like a main feature. I really like that you can just drive around and dick around while you're waiting for a match to start. It allows for things like Knockout, and having all these tracks interlocked with each other is cool. I like all that. But just as its own thing, it's really weak. And just doesn't offer a lot. Which you just wouldn't expect out of a Nintendo title, especially because I feel like Nintendo has really been doing a good job with their open world structure for the previous generation. It's just very strange.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is just like, which is weird because Breath of the Wild was such a cool version of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It felt like there was so much thought put into how they wanted an open world Zelda to be. And then when it came to open world Mario Kart, it's like they ran out of ideas.
It's almost like the open world isn't even a part of it. Like, it doesn't even have a menu option label for it. It's like a side thing that you hit by pressing start.
Again, I'm talking about basic stuff, right? It doesn't even have a way to keep track of what P-switches you have done, or what Peach coins you've collected, or anything like that. There's nothing that keeps track of your progress. It just feels so, like,
oh god,
last minute. But it's called Mario Kart World.
But like, the whole game was clearly built with it in mind, so it can't have been last minute.
It's so bizarre. I want to know where the breakdown happened. It's all just very, very strange. The only other thing, and this kind of gets into a larger conversation. It feels very strange that this is the game where they wanted it to be $80. I feel like we had talked about this, but like, I'm not, like, no one wants games to be more expensive, obviously, but I think I'm not inherently against the idea of paying for an $80 game if I feel like it really justifies it in a way. Like with Tears of the Kingdom, when that was $70, when we finally got the game in our hands, I could see why they wanted to charge an extra $10 than what they normally do. Because there's just so much to that game. The mechanics are insane. The open world is crazy. Everything they add to it. I'm not really seeing why this is more expensive than, like, Donkey Kong Bonanza or Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, honestly, the thing that confuses me more, I understand why Mario Kart World's $80. What I don't get is why Bonanza isn't. In comparison.
Which, hey, you know,
I'm happy about that. Like, but at the same time,
but it's weird that this is the game that they want to do that with.
It sets up in my mind that Bonanza is going to be less of a game than this one, which I doubt is true.
Yeah,
but it's going to be
it's
a
not
weird.
Here yet. We'll see, but yeah, very, very odd. I think there's a larger conversation to be had about $80 video games, and I am going to go out on a limb. I don't mean to speak for both of us, but I don't think either of us are truly equipped to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's like a whole industry discussion that
it's
I don't
industry, but also you could make the argument that a lot of it is just like wage and how much that has to do with it. It just, there's a lot of moving pieces there that I don't think we're equipped to handle. All I'll say is I am not against it in practice if I feel like it really earns it. And to me, I don't really see it with this one, especially because this is the only one that is $80. It's very strange.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Not to say that this isn't a great game. It's fucking excellent. And I'm actually, I don't know if this is Mario Kart sacrilege, but I'm actually enjoying this. And maybe it's just because it's new. I'm enjoying this much more than I enjoyed my time with 8 Deluxe, personally.
Yeah, I like the Deluxe a lot. I think I like this more. Though a lot of it's down to the fact that I grew up on Tony Hawk's, and grinding in Mario Karts is so funny to me.
But it works really well. Oh, fuck. Was that your comic? I hope to God. You fucking prick. Oh, no. No! No! Fuck! Yeah!
Oh, I almost got you with that blue shot.
Get wrecked. Get wrecked, you little bitch. You just got fucked over by a toad with a giant hamburger hat. Get fucked.
Not the hamburger.
I swear, I would not be surprised if I listened back to this and during the last course of that entire thing, I was just speaking pure gibberish and wasn't actually coherent at all. I'm sure it sounded great in my head. I don't know what I actually said.
Yeah, I don't know what language you were speaking, but it wasn't English.
It wasn't a human language.
Wasn't understandable to my smooth brain. That's what Knockout Tour does to you.
Knockout Tour is incredible. It is, and I'm not even saying this as a negative towards the rest of this game. It's pretty much the only thing I'm playing. Not because the other modes are bad, but it's because it's that fucking good.
Yeah, the other modes are quite good. I've been having a great time with playing Time Trials, because it actually reminds me quite a lot of Trackmania in the way that like this game has so much shenaniganry to it compared to other Mario games, that there's just so much, like, kind of like Mario Odyssey, where you could really get creative in a lot of the levels. There's tons of cool stuff you can do in terms of like shortcuts and weird item-specific interactions at every course, which is just very fun. I've had a great time messing around in Time Trials because of that. And it's also got online ghosts, so you can race other people's ghosts, which is a thing I never thought a Nintendo game would have.
Well, they kind of did. Wasn't there I'm trying to remember, wasn't there like a Mario thing where they had something similar to that?
Maybe. I don't. If there is, I haven't played it, but it works really well.
Of like Mario 99 or something.
Maybe.
Would be the case.
Like one of the Mario makers.
Oh, that's actually something I had written down. Would you, if they did any more of the like insert game franchise 99, what would you like to see?
I think I would have said Mario Kart before this. I think Knockout Tour is that, functionally.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I'm satisfied with that. Something I think I would like to see is something like wacky, like Metroid 99.
Oh, gosh.
Or something where it's like a like Metroidvania boss rush or something.
Fox 99 could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, like just something weird, because I think that's where a lot of those games would do really well.
Sure. It's a really interesting idea. I don't always go for them, but I think it's a really cool thing that I do want to see more of in the future. It's just fun. It's kind of different, you know?
Yeah. Though I think I would prefer to see them treated as like a full game. I think a full concept thing would be more fun, or even like a combo pack 99 that's like you queue up and you don't know what you're gonna get.
Almost like a WarioWare style. Like,
exactly.
Would be really fun.
A little bit of that like Mario Party craziness into it. But yeah, I would love that. I think just anything cool and creative they could do with this. I actually am weirdly excited for Duskbloods.
Well, we need to learn more about it, definitely.
Which I need to know more about.
If it's like a weird online thing, I
mean, we know it's like an online thing, PvPvE thing.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
Fuck you. I got hit by your blue shell and then like 6 other things at once.
Burger Toad strikes again, motherfucker. Wasn't
well, guess
my
what?
blue shell.
You still were beaten by Daisy, so.
Listen, I'll get beaten by Daisy. That's fine. I'll take it. Anyway, you were saying.
I don't know. Night Rain's been good enough that I am curious what else they can do. That said, I do still have a lot of problems with Night Rain that I don't think Dustbloods is going to fix. Like From's weird adamancy that they're not doing a 2-player mode is so strange.
Have they said why?
They just forgot about it, supposedly. That's what they've said.
Well, I guess online has never really been their strongest suit, from what I understand.
It's just a weird thing to have not thought about in a game that requires online, basically. Because at least my experience has been when I don't play it in a group of 3, I've had every single random person we've gotten in the party has left partway through the game, which is just like super frustrating. Because the game is difficult enough that having not 3 people becomes a real issue.
Yeah.
But like playing it in a set group of 3, super fun. I would just love to see them have some handling of it that isn't so strict about the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good gameplay too. Like all the character classes are so much fun to play as. I think Dustblood's benefits is going to come with that.
Yeah.
Look, playing Elden Ring, but with a character that uses a grappling hook constantly is so fun. It's just so good.
I'm a little surprised that, Nintendo. Oh, they get a FromSoft, exclusive. I'm a little surprised that they wanted to go with the multiplayer route.
I would guess that Nintendo isn't responsible for that. I have a feeling that's FromSoft doing FromSoft things.
Well, I wonder if it was almost like a Bayonetta situation where this game was already in development and Nintendo was like, hey, can we scoop
fund
that up?
the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly.
How far back are you?
You don't need to. That's not your concern right now.
I think it is my concern.
I think you should just keep your fucking eyes to yourself. Stop screen cheating.
How am I screen cheating when I can't see?
You're screen cheating. You'll find a way. God damn it. We're actually playing... Spoilers, we're actually playing right next to each other. Shoulder to shoulder.
100% not. About as far away as we physically could be while being in the continental United States. Actually, I think as far as we could possibly be.
Not quite. Go to, like,
really?
Maine.
I guess tip of Maine. I guess tip of Maine.
You can go a little further east. Not much, but you can go a little.
Tiny bit. You can't go much further west.
No. Absolutely not. Yeah, Ryan tried to get as far away from me as possible.
I did an oopsie.
What did you do?
An oopsie, and somehow I'm still in first place. Not today.
This fucking...
Nope.
This fucking Jurassic Park ass fucking track.
Yeah, I was really far ahead of you. This is what Mario Kart does to you.
Every time I play this with my girlfriend, we have to look at each other and it's like, no matter who wins or loses tonight, no matter what we say to each other, I still love you.
What happens in Mario Kart stays in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It's like
specifically, there was a time we were playing Mario Party, and she was the only person with 2 stars at the time. And so I stole 2 of her stars because she was the only one with stars. I had to do what I had to do. And she just leans over to me and she's like, "You're sleeping outside tonight."
I think that's understood when you make the decision to play a Mario Party game.
And then later on, I stole stars from someone else, and then she just looks at me and goes, "I'll give you a blanket when you go outside tonight."
Oh, I found a Peach medallion.
I don't know what those do. It's the fucking shit I'm talking about. What do those do? Do they give you one of the dumb stickers that doesn't do anything? I don't know.
I don't know, but now I'm driving like a cyberpunk hoverjet.
What?
I'm driving a cyberpunk hoverjet.
Did it change your
No, it's not a
cart?
cart. It's a thing that I went into.
Oh, one of those. Right.
It's wild.
Notice how he's only doing Knockout Tour once because I beat him in Knockout Tour, and now he's just doing.
No, because I'm rotating. We'll be back to Knockout Tour.
Do you notice?
Do you know what our mental state would be if we played non-stop Knockout Tour?
That's my mental state every day, Ryan. That's all I've been doing. And I turned out just fine.
Imagine how much better this console launch would be if there was another Nintendo game alongside.
I do not understand. They're launching Donkey Kong next month. They couldn't wait one more month? You know?
Look, I'm glad I have it in my hands now. So...
No, I mean, I guess I'm not complaining, but at the same time, think about it. You have a multiplayer... You have a multiplayer Nintendo game, and you have a single-player Nintendo game. It worked... What the fuck?
Did you do what I did? Tried to go the wrong way.
What the fuck? Why is that even there?
I was super confused.
Huh? What on earth was that? Who's the fuck? Alright, well... Fuck.
Let's stick with it this way. We'll get the fun items now.
If I had one complaint about Knockout Tour, is that 99% of the time, no matter what place you're in, other than like top 3, it's mostly just getting mushrooms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not super fun.
I'll turn the items to frantic next time.
Oh, that'll be great. But no, I fucked it. But no, it would have been great to have. It would have been great to have a single-player Nintendo experience, a new 3D Donkey Kong game that really, I think, shows off the power that the Switch 2 has in a lot of ways, as well as like a multiplayer Nintendo experience, which is Mario Kart. And I think that would have been a very solid launch.
Oh my god, I'm getting hit by repeated red shells. This is the end of my career, Wyatt. I'm ruined. My Mario Kart career is over.
Oh. So many red shells. What is happening right now? Also, I didn't realize this. Currently no release date for Metroid.
Yeah.
It says just 2025. That's it. But we don't have like a specific date, which I didn't know. I thought that had been confirmed already.
Oh my god. Right after you, I get hit.
Get fucked! Get fucked!
I'm ruined. My Mario Kart reputation is in shambles.
Give me that fucking crown. All hail the king.
And because of that, this episode can't air.
Perhaps a bit ill-timed on my part. Listen, there's a crown. I don't know what to tell you.
There's a crown. I don't know what to say. It isn't mine, so...
Editor, can we cut that part out? Editor?
Trying to hit the perfect grind, and I completely botched it. Completely botched it. That's embarrassing.
How likely is it, you think we're going to be seeing a trend of developers unlocking frame rates even for, like, newer games?
I think it's possible. I don't know how likely it necessarily is.
Mm-hmm. I guess what I'm saying is like it's not something I'm not confident enough to be like, oh, you should get a Switch 2 because all of these games are going to be more playable now. We don't know that. I mean, they are more playable, but not to the degree of like 60
Many are the same.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
I wonder which tour it's going to be.
Which is... looking over my notes to see if there's anything I haven't talked about yet. Because I'm trying to skip around the hardware-related stuff, because I'm assuming we're going to go...
I mean, we could talk about the hardware, just in relation to the Switch, and not... We don't need to compare everything yet.
Sure. I think it's just a much better made kit overall. Definitely.
Yeah, it feels much better portable too. I find the bigger size means it's a lot more comfortable to hold.
Yes, I still have an issue where I get cramped after.
I am gonna get a grip for it though, because the lack of a grip on the back makes it a little awkward in certain positions.
I know we're gonna save comparisons for later down the line, but it is so hard. I feel like I've been like spoiled by the Steam Deck and how good the ergonomics are, and it makes me look down on the Switch and the Switch 2's ergonomics a bit more as a result. Unfortunately,
yeah, I get that.
I did think. I think the new magnetic kind of rail system is much better than the original Switch. I do think there's a bit more. Sturdier. It does. I do think there's still a bit more give to it. A bit of give to it. However, I think we're getting a little bit of wiggle now, but it's going to stay at that little bit of wiggle for much longer than the original Switch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to completely degrade. Like, it's weird. I've had no issues with stick drift with any controller I've ever had, knock on wood. But what I have had with Switch is just how wobbly my Joy-Cons get.
Oh, I fucked it.
What did you do? Oh, you're in the fucking... You're in the weeds, man. But yeah, I think
tried
the
a
wiggle
risky grind and it didn't work.
Yeah. It happens to the best of them. But I think the wiggle that we're getting now is the wiggle we're going to get. The amount of wiggle we're going to get.
Long term. Yeah.
Long term. Which I think is good. I know there were concerns about the contact... the contacts on the console itself. Sorry, there's fucking ink on my screen now on a very narrow bit of road, and I am sweating. What the fuck was I talking about? I don't think we have anything to worry about with those contacts as long as you're like reasonably protective of your Switch, because they're supposed to have a little bit of give so they don't snap off, and I think they're out of the way enough where I don't see it being an issue.
Yeah, I'd largely agree with that.
Now, talk about the screen.
I think the screen is as good as I would have hoped it would be, but I do miss it not being OLED, or miss it being an OLED.
I heard some people say that it's better than the OLED screen, which I do not agree with.
I think it's close, it's better, but it's not better.
It's better in a lot of smaller areas, right? Like, obviously, higher refresh rate, higher resolution is nice. VRR support is great. But it's too dim for me. Like, I don't think it's a huge issue, but it's dimmer than I would want in a handheld gaming console that came out this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I tend to play at a pretty low brightness regardless, so it doesn't really bother me, but I'm not playing it in situations where I would need the higher brightness.
Fair enough. It just sucks because I feel like, I mean, obviously it would make it more expensive, definitely, but I feel like the main reason they didn't include an OLED screen is so that they have something to upgrade to later. Which, from a business perspective, I understand, but I don't have to be okay with it.
For right now, kind of sucks.
Yeah. I do think the thumbsticks are better. I really grew to dislike the thumbsticks on the original Switch. I think the travel is tiny and they just didn't feel very smooth. I hated the like mostly convex like design of the actual thumbstick. I hated the arrangement of it as well. I think for a handheld device, having them be offset like that is not nearly as nice as having them be both on the bottom or on the top, kind of like the Wii U gamepad, for instance. But I do think these are better. They still don't have as much travel as I would like. I truly do not understand why Nintendo is afraid to just put full fucking, like, full
proper thumbsticks.
I do not understand why they're so resistant to that. The Steam Deck has proven that you can do that. I think other PC handhelds have proven that you can do that. And they have a pair of really good thumbsticks ready to go on the Switch Pro. So, you know, these are fine and they get the job done, but I just don't understand why they feel like they have to be like, you know, mobile grade thumbsticks. I don't know what their game is there. Other than, I guess, keeping costs down. Like, it's literally the only thing I can think of that's a plus.
Yeah.
And I'd be way more okay with it. I'd be way more okay with it if they gave us an option to have, like, oh, here's, like, the Joy-Con Pros or whatever. Like, full-on thumbsticks and, like, better, kind of less clicky buttons. Basically just like
I don't know if you ever used the Hori slip pad on the original Switch, but those were great. But I would love to see something more like that. Yeah, I've heard good things.
For the longest time, I didn't want to get third-party Joy-Cons because they didn't have HD Rumble. I'm at a point in my life now where I just don't care about things like HD Rumble, like, just to be honest. Or even the whatever the version was called on PS5. It just doesn't really do much for me anyway.
I used my item at the wrong time.
Oh no! Well, it looks like you're a little bit higher in the cluster now, which is good. You're making progress.
Oh, I'm coming for you. Absolutely, but you're so far ahead that I'm not exactly sure.
So my point stands. You're a little higher in the cluster.
I just need you to, like, run into a wall or something. Can you do that for me?
Oh, I did. I don't know where you were at, but I did a little while ago.
Make a couple of mistakes, please.
One thing I'm not crazy about with this Joy-Con, I feel like the bumpers aren't as good. I don't know if you've felt that way. They're very like tinny and like rattly, and I feel like I accidentally hit them a lot.
I haven't really had that problem. I actually think they're a lot better than the original Joy-Con bumpers because the original ones were so small that they were super annoying to hit.
These are bigger, which is nice.
What the hell just happened?
I couldn't tell you.
It was not good.
This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm an idiot. Again, coherent conversations right now is...
I've lost my speed.
It's a bit of a toughie.
It's the final moments of a long knockout tour.
Oh my god! My hands are so sweaty. Oh god.
I'm going to find you and take the tires off your cart.
Well, you're gonna have to take the burger off my head first.
Like Mario Kart, very good, unequivocally, best part of the package.
Absolutely. It just needed a bit more what do the kids call it, sauce in the open world, and I think it'd be pretty much perfect.
Yeah. I am curious what you think our next, like, what Nintendo lineup is really missing for you.
Well, I mean, anything Zelda related, but I know we just got 2 Zelda games in a relatively short amount of time, so I'm not expecting anything yet. Although, god damn it, I will never ever stop asking for some sort of 3D Zelda collection, Nintendo. Come on!
I really, really want Twilight Princess on the Switch too. I want the Wind Waker remake too, but I'll take original Wind Waker on the GameCube thing. That's fine.
I'm like, here's the thing, it's on there. I haven't started it yet because I'm waiting for them to release the HD remaster. Which God knows if they're going to do at this point, if they're offering it on the GameCube. What's missing? I mean, I guess a 3D Mario, but I guess the supplement for that is Donkey Kong, because from what I understand, it's the same team.
Yeah, I don't know if we know for certain that it is, but it definitely feels like it could be.
I don't really know how Nintendo operates in terms of, like, what teams do what. Like, they don't really make that super clear, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's always been a little bit finicky to figure out, because they tend to wait till things release to tell you what studio is responsible, or close to release.
Yeah.
So I remember all the debacles during, like, Metroid Prime 4 getting revealed about who was making it, and the fact that it wasn't Retro originally.
So they probably want to keep that pretty close to the chest as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah, I wonder if that's, like, showing them to be a little bit more careful.
Which I don't think they have to be, it's just... I don't know. It'd be nice to know who works on what at Nintendo. I hate it when you have a publisher that has teams that work on that are known for specific things, but it's all just labeled as the publisher.
Yeah.
It just feels like the proper people aren't being credited in that regard. Like, say what you want about Ubisoft, they make it very clear that this is a massive game, this is a, you know, Montpellier game, whatever.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I really want to see a little bit more transparency about that. For me, the big thing too, I would love to see an F-Zero game on this console, because I think it could handle it way more than the Switch one could.
Yeah, well, I remember them in an interview not too long ago, because I think they were asked, like, why are we not getting any F-Zero games? It's because, and what they said was that they don't know what to do with F-Zero in terms of, like, adding anything new to it. But in my opinion, it's been long enough where people will take, like, a status quo release just to have something more modern on more modern systems.
Yeah, just F-Zero is probably enough right now.
Yeah.
Finally hit the grind correctly.
Ryan hit that grind. Also, I love that you can play as the cow in this game.
It's so
but one
funny.
of the snacks you get is a burger. So, as a cow,
you can canonically be a cannibal.
Yeah. It's kind of fucked up when you really start thinking about it.
Pretty wild.
Pretty fucked up of Nintendo to do that, but what are you gonna do? Should be ashamed of yourselves, Nintendo.
I just came within centimeters of getting hit by a gigantic rolling ball.
Well, you know what else is coming within centimeters of you?
Yeah.
That wasn't me. I just thought I'd warn you ahead of time. Being a good friend and all.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that was so close. What do you said F-Zero, what else do you think is missing in terms of the Nintendo lineup?
I think just breadth, really. Like, I don't want to say it's like the depth is the problem of the lineup, but I think we just need things. I don't really think it matters what things. I think we need Nintendo things.
I do think they're really banking on people being excited for Metroid Prime 4. It's like, oh, it's finally coming out, you know? and they're banking on Mario Kart just lasting as long as it does.
Which, to my understanding, it is doing extremely well.
Oh, yeah.
Given that Mario Kart 8 is one of, if not the best-selling game of all time, or something like that, at least Nintendo's.
Well, that's something to point out, too, is that this is, I think, the best-selling Nintendo console of all time, and it's also its most expensive.
Yeah, the fastest selling, at least. I don't think we know best or not yet, because it probably takes time. But.
Oh, no, I meant fastest selling, sorry. Yeah, no, that's going to take a while, obviously. But a lot of people are saying, well, that's a bad thing because then they could get away with releasing consoles this expensive. And to that, I say, after having, because we were both on record saying, $450 seems like a fair price for what we're getting. I still feel that way. I still feel that way.
Have fun with that one. And that one.
Oh, you fucker! After getting my hands on the console, I still feel that way. I still think $450 is a very fair asking price.
Yeah, I feel like what I've gotten has been worth that.
It's really well made. I think the power is there, especially for Nintendo's first-party stuff.
Yeah, especially for studios that can take advantage of it.
Especially for studios that care to. Yeah, that's the big thing. Like I said, made really, really well. You know we're going to be getting really good, Nintendo exclusives down the line. And I think third party genuinely seems more interested this time around. We're getting a fucking FromSoft exclusive, for God's sake.
Which is incredible. Just the fact that it's even happening at all is incredible.
I do feel like some people are underestimating how big of a deal that is.
What I'm really hoping, though, is I like the multiplayer ideas that FromSoft has, but I really want, for the Switch especially, something I can play offline. Because to me, that's the biggest downside about Hitman, is it's not really playable offline. I mean, it is, but you can't carry any of your progression over. A bunch of weird stuff like that, where it's an entirely separate save and all that. So,
and then that just gets into the whole mess with game key cards.
Yeah, I'm not super upset about game key cards, but I'll probably never buy one, if that makes sense. A game key card to me fully eliminates the point, or it doesn't get the point of a digital game.
I'm very against it because it muddies the water of what you do and don't own even more than it already is at the moment.
Yeah.
And I as someone who's been trying to... I am fully in the cluster now. God damn it.
Get clustered.
As someone who is trying more and more to buy games physically, the fact that this just makes everything more confusing is infuriating.
Yeah,
especially
what I really don't like is them replacing physical cartridges with key cards, essentially.
Yeah. Well, especially when... oh, God. What am I doing? Oh my God, I can't get one fucking coherent thought out right now. Especially when Cyberpunk is on the fucking card.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for some of these games to have game key cards. It is ridiculous. If they can fit Cyberpunk 2077 with its expansion on the fucking card, then everyone else can. I refuse to believe that these other people can't. It makes me feel like it's one step closer to everything being digital, and that's not a future.
Yeah, well, especially with a console that has the storage limitations that the Switch does, or the Switch 2 does, I would expect that the value of a physical game, part of it is the fact that it's not on that internal storage, and you can save space, and with key cards that's not the case, so it completely defeats the purpose of or one of the biggest benefits of buying physical games.
Yeah.
When it's not on one of those. Sorry, I'm hitting a sick grind. I had to land. I'm being a little risky for being first place.
Oh my God! fuck off. God fucking damn it. Why do I claim this game? Fuck this game.
Oh, come on. Oh, all right, I've finally beaten you in Knockout Tour, so we'll never play this mode again.
Yeah. Fucking coward. Fucking coward.
Oh man, third place while you're slipping.
I don't know what to say to you. You're just a little bitch, and you can't handle it. And you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, this crown says different. The crown that I'm wearing.
Ryan, is that how you want to identify yourself right now, with a big old crown on your head?
Look, the No Kings protests are right outside my doorstep, and I would be there if it were not for having plans. But you know.
Oh, I was watching them as they were passing by work. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends that
It was a
it's been wild up here.
kind of thing going on.
Oh no, I 100% would have been there if I did not have plans every single day this weekend. It's been super busy, but yeah, it's wild. We don't tend to talk politics on the show, but I've had coworkers that are afraid for their status right now, and that's very unfortunate. So
it's hard not to mention it when you're basically one step
I'm in
away
the thick of it.
Fascist dictatorship. Oh well, yeah.
I'm in the thick of the big protests right now because we got all sorts of stuff going on over here. Yeah, LA's in a little bit of a state right now, but it's the world we live in. However unfortunate it may be that it's necessary.
And listen, sometimes it's nice to get away from all of the negativity and all of the stress and
play Mario.
Yell horrible insults at your friends while playing Mario Kart.
Yep. Great way to spend the day.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Exactly. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big that we're missing in this discussion.
The things for me, the other thing I don't like, and I know you're going to agree with me on this because we've kind of mentioned it already, the fact that the C button is just a game chat button.
Yeah, and they hyped it up big time.
Like, all their controllers have this extra piece of hardware that is functionally pretty useless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also, I think calling it a C button was such a cheeky move because C button implies something crazy. Like, oh, there was the C buttons on the N64 controller. There's the C stick on the 3DS. You know, it always implies something more than a fucking communication button, than a Discord button.
Diet Discord button.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if the thought process for them was people have wanted a built-in chat for so long, and so that's what we're hyping up.
But they're so behind the curve.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not a fan of that. As much praise as we're giving the Switch 2 for a lot of things, I don't want it to come off as everything being, sunshine and rainbows, because it definitely isn't. There's things to talk about. There's things that I'm not entirely happy with. I was so close with that fucking banana. God damn it.
I wasn't just close with that green shell. That hit its mark.
Oh, God.
The lightning and the comic back-to-back, devious.
Also, I will say, on a previous episode. Oh, speaking of shells.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. Get fucked. Now that I have seen the virtual game card thing in action, it makes more sense to me. But it just highlights more how confusing their communication was with all of that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just a different way of saying these are the digital games that you have in your collection. Basically.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to me having used it a fair bit now to share games. and whatnot in the family group and all that, but it definitely needed to be clearer when they were going over it initially. Man, I really fell into the thick of it back here.
Oh, I tried to do a wall grind, and it did not end well for me. Yeah, I don't know how they came to the conclusion that that's how they wanted to communicate that idea, but it's the most backwards, confusing way they could have explained it, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because it's actually a fairly simple concept when you get down to it, but it's like just...
Oh my god, I just fell on my own banana. I've lost it. It's gone. It's out the window.
I think you may have hit your peak tonight, man.
Yeah, beating you in Knockout Tour took a lot out of me.
Yeah, as it would. Now you can't even win the normal races like a normal person. It's fucking embarrassing.
That's what I'm known for. Is winning the normal races.
Winning
now
the normal
I'm a measly
races
third place.
For all the boring plebs.
All the losers like Wario.
Well, you're playing Luigi, so.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem.
Listen, not everyone can be Burger Head Toad. Not everyone can live up to that. I understand.
But now I can be Yoshi in a fast food uniform and a race cart.
That is pretty great. Okay, here's a weird question for you. Any super wacky out there accessory ideas that you could think could either be first party or third party?
I want a Mario Kart driving wheel. And not like the Joy-Con twisty one. I want a full-on racing setup.
That'd be pretty sweet. That'd be fun.
And
I don't think
what
I
it's
would
gotta
use it,
have?
but that'd be cool.
It needs a motion-controlled shell that you mimic throwing for items.
Maybe that's your Joy-Con right there.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny.
I'm gonna put a chance of this happening because I know it's gonna drive you up the wall.
Oh god. See, this is what sore losers do: is that they pick your least favorite track. Okay. Get fucked. Get fucked.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna beat you. So I'm not Luigi anymore. I even brought my beachwear.
It's gonna be such a nice, cool day. So relaxed. Excited to bring your beachwear.
Come on, I need the perfectly placed shot.
If they were to do another Star Fox game, do you think they could just do classic Star Fox, or do you think it needs some sort of like reinvention?
I don't think they would do. I think they could do classic Star Fox and people would be happy. I don't think Nintendo would.
No, probably not.
So I would expect some type of like evolution to happen. What that is, who knows? But the thing about the Switch 2 is it's like so much more powerful than the Switch 1. The games that ran pretty roughly, like Starlink, I could see working really well.
I'd love an uncapped Starlink.
Yeah, legitimately, that's one of my most wished updates.
I picked it up on physical for $10, which is pretty sweet.
But yeah, I would love an update for that game in particular because I think it's a really fun system, but it just runs so poorly on the Switch.
Plus, Nintendo, I mean, take a few notes as to what Starlink did as a potential, floor plan for a Star Fox game, Instead of it being like an on-rails thing.
Fucked with by the AI.
But I feel like that would be a good format. Like, make it like a fully controllable ship rather than just on rails. I think that would draw a lot of people in. Because, like I've said before, I think space games have taken off in such a way where if that's something they wanted to do, You know?
Yeah, no, totally.
I think that would be huge.
What I want is No Man's Star Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the dream would be, flying around, classic Star Fox combat shenanigans, but then bring in that bit from Star Fox Adventures where you're walking around. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
that'd be fun.
I think this would go over well with us, this comparison, with you and I specifically, and no one else. Star Fox Outlaws.
Yeah.
Would be kind of rad. I'd be into that. I'd be into that.
You know what? We're inching steadily closer to asking for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
See, unlike that, though, Nintendo would actually release it.
It would actually make a video game.
They would keep it on schedule.
I don't know about on schedule, but existing. I'll take existing at this point.
There's no way that game is still in active development. I think they just keep saying it.
I just don't know why they wouldn't say anything. That's my confusion with it. Because at least with like the Prince of Persia reboot that got moved around, they confirmed that it was just moved and they're redoing it based on the feedback.
Well, I think it's because it's such an anticipated thing. Like I said, I think it's like a carrot on the end of a stick situation. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's a break glass in case of emergency thing, and Ubisoft is kind of in an emergency from everything I am understanding.
We're just going to keep this game in permanent pre-production until we're right fucked. Don't you do it, you little fucker.
Give it to me again.
You're gonna do it, you little bitch. No! No! I will say, with this Rainbow Road specifically, because they have to accommodate for twice as many racers, the actual track is a little bit wider, and it's not as obnoxious.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
It's also gorgeous.
Oh, I will never take that away from it. It is a beautiful track. Probably the prettiest track in the whole game.
This and the, like, Luna View or whatever it is, the orbital thing.
Oh, yeah.
Also gorgeous.
That original Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong arcade game reference track is also very cute.
Alright, I'm like 120% locked in on Rainbow Road. Speaking of, this is a good thematic one, because we're coming to time.
Yeah.
This will be our final race is the classic Mario Kart Rainbow Road.
I think, and just to sum up my thoughts, I think this launch could have been handled a little bit better in terms of the number of exclusives. I think transparency has been a bit of an issue. But I'm very excited as to what the Switch 2 will bring us in the future. I think it's a very solid piece of hardware, and I think will age a lot better than the original Switch will in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Nintendo exclusives are going to be in a much better place. Genuinely, I really don't want the fidelity of games on the Switch 2 to be that much better than the original Switch. I just want them to run well. That's really all I want at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's really shown with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because we haven't really talked about those, but the sheer beauty of those games running at 60 on Nintendo hardware is incredible. Like, they're so much fun.
How do you feel about them charging for the upgrades?
I would be more upset if it was a new version of the game, because like when I look at someone or at games like that, plenty of other studios have just released the game again as a tactic. Like Rockstar comes to mind, and their incessant releasing of new versions of all their games every time. Except they have Red like Dead 2. Yeah, like
or Red Dead.
I mean, even now they're doing that again. So I think I will take it over that. If it were free, it would have been great, but yeah, I'm happy enough regardless just to have the ability to play those games.
And to be clear too, we're both in a Nintendo family plan together, so we didn't actually pay for them.
Yeah, that also softens it. But like I would have paid for them if not. I don't think I would have really felt bad about it comparatively.
Well, also, and this is never an excuse to do something that I don't agree with, but it's not like this is an industry standard either. Like, there's a lot of like paid next gen upgrades for stuff out there. You know, it's not like Nintendo or the
the case I feel about it be a lot worse about it, and is the case of games that just released. Like if Echoes of Wisdom was charging for the upgrade, that would feel bad to me because it came out very recently. But it didn't, so I don't feel bad about it.
This is so pretty. This is so fucking pretty.
Yeah, it's such a gorgeous like fly through the end.
God. I do think the price is a little steep for what we're getting. They didn't really add a whole lot to the package. And what I do think is terrible is that they're re-releasing them as Switch 2 versions, and they don't come. Breath of the Wild doesn't come with the DLC. I think that
I think is egregious. Yeah, that should not be the case. Tears of the Kingdom I'm fine with because it doesn't have DLC. But yeah, Breath of the Wild especially is just that's a weird distinction that they did. I'm just excited to see what Nintendo comes up with next for these, though, because Bonanza looks like a lot of fun. I hope they've got some other stuff cooking. Metroid Prime 4 looks great.
I do wonder how much they're banking on Metroid Prime 4, genuinely.
I would say quite a lot, because like, what else do they have? Pokemon's probably going to be a big thing, because ZA is shaping up pretty well from early impressions, which is really good.
You think we're gonna get any Xenoblade this generation?
Oh, for sure. Whether or not it may not be Xenoblade specifically, because 3 is kind of not like an ending, but it doesn't really leave threads hanging like the other games did. But I'm sure Monolith Soft is doing a core game that they're going to talk about soon.
I mean, I'd love to see something new as well. Because it doesn't seem like Xenoblade, like, they don't sell bad, but not amazing either. I could be wrong.
They've done well. Xenoblade tends to do really well.
Okay, that's
at least in the context of a JRPG that isn't Final Fantasy. Although now it might even be in the context of Final Fantasy. Granted that Square always has their insane sales predictions.
Do you think we're getting any Bayonetta stuff or anything Platinum
I don't know
related?
what Platinum is doing. They're helping with Ninja Gaiden right now.
Right.
So I'd be surprised if we hear from them soon.
Because from what I understand, Bayonetta also didn't sell like amazingly.
Bayonetta 3 was not as good as 2. The gameplay was great, but the story was a hot mess. Whereas 2 was like, the story's not the thing you know about Bayonetta game 4, but it was at least good and enjoyable. 3's was like, it didn't run as well as 2 did. And the gameplay was like so ambitious that it kind of shattered the Switch's performance.
Which, hey, makes it a perfect time to play it for Switch 2.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure Bayonetta 3 is going to be actually phenomenal on Switch 2.
You might like it significantly more.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on getting the Bayonetta games another run through.
I actually have all 3. 2 of them are being shipped to me right now, but I have the 3rd one that I got on discount. So I'm excited to check that out.
Definitely play them in order. They're very, very good.
Yeah, that's the... Also, another surprise game with an unlocked frame rate, Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah, I did not know about that.
Which is very interesting. Fun. Although not the first one, which is unfortunate.
Yep. All right. Well, I think in general we've talked about a lot of our Switch 2 thoughts. We'll go over stuff in a more succinct format on the podcast when we talk about some handheld things. Well, but I think this is a good showcase.
We'll also have it in hand as well.
Yes, whereas this is like a showcase. And there is a loose plan at some point that I'm going to hold Wyatt to, because he suggested it, of using game chat for an episode.
Oh, God. Ryan, I was drunk and kidding.
Didn't sound like it at the time, so it's on the dock.
Fuck.
We just got to find the right game to do that with.
I mean, Mario Party.
All right. Well, on that note, it's the end of the show. We'll catch y'all next week. Tuesday's podcast platform of your choice, even Twitch. We got some Game Pass games to talk about, so be ready for that discussion coming up.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.